I studied for 8 months in this exchange program. So during this exchange program, when I first got there, I didn't speak any Spanish at all, which well, actually Argentines, they speak Castellano, which is very interesting. So as soon as I got there, I pretty much just threw myself to the wolves, wolves, quote unquote. I didn't have any experience with Spanish. I didn't really understand what it was to be able to learn Spanish. I studied Italian in high school, but I really didn't learn much. So at the time, everything was just different for me. I was more introverted. I really didn't I was, I know how to interact with people, but at the same time, I was more introverted. So really shy person. So when I threw myself into the culture, I started seeing myself open up more. The people were so welcoming. The people let me in. The people invited me to the table at the cafeteria. There were so many different things that just changed my life. I just thought it was amazing. I just threw myself out there to the people, so the people could either accept me or reject me. The people were so nice. People were so nice. The people were welcoming. The people helped me a lot with my Spanish, because when I first got there, I was learning Castellano with a translator. With that translator, I had to go around, with the translator in my hand, translating everything that was said, because I didn't really understand much. So that was a big principal time at the time, and I was just going through a transition phase. So I was there 8 months. First 2 months, it took me 2 months to pick up my Castellano. About a month and a half. With a month and a half in, I was just picking up Spanish. I was just starting to develop a passion for Spanish. I was just picking up really fast. And then at the time, I was just learning that my Spanish was going to be there. I was going to end up picking up fluently. So my experience there was incredible. My experience there's a long story, but my experience was incredible there. I met so many different people, so many good people, and a lot of these people are white. I never had an experience. Now that was the farmlands of Entre Rios, so the style's a little bit different. But let's fast forward. That experience was great. I stayed there 8 months, ended up coming back, and I wanted to end up studying there. Actually, I ended up having to go back to the States and finish my college degree, but I loved it so much that I ended up moving back there eventually after I graduated 2 years later. So fast forward, I went back to the States. I stayed in the States. I studied in the States for about 2 years, from 2006 to 2008. 2008, I decided to move to Buenos Aires.